Our special board meeting for Friday, August 11th at 1 p.m. Would like to call this to order. Our first order of business, our invocation. Mr. Goddard, if you will do that, and Commissioner Pickens, if you will take care of our Pledge of Allegiance. Please all rise.
All right, if we just take this moment. Lord, thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity to be in here. Thank you so much for these applicants that you've brought before us. We just ask that you open our hearts, open our minds, help us to make good decisions that'll propel our county forward, Lord. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would like to take this moment and thank our committee, the Honorable Miss Linda Myers, Representative Bobby Payne, Mr. Sloan, Breck Sloan, and John Browning for all the hard work. This has been a very interesting process, and now we're moving forward. And this morning, for the listening public, we had our interviews with our the three candidates with our hiring committee member, and that went very well from my understanding. The members have had lunch with the committee members, so that was one process out of the way, and they interacted there. We had a great meeting last night, and I think kudos go to Yvonne Parrish and our staff here for all the hard work, and Palaca Sunrise Rotary to make that event very spectacular last night. Well attended, and the food was wonderful, and the interaction was outstanding. So right now, we have a few hiccups. So Commissioner Pickens, I think you had some concerns that you wanted to share.
Yeah, I do have a request. I guess I misunderstood the start time of this meeting, and I actually spoke at a function the other night and invited the group to attend, and I said it was going to start at 1:30, so I didn't know if it was a process or possibility we could recess until 1:30.
Yeah, we had some issues with that, and it was advertised for us to be at 1:30, but it made the paper at 1 o'clock. So this commissioner has no problem in that. So commissioners, how do you feel?
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine.
Okay. So why don't we just take a moment, if we can, while we're still here at this point. We do have, you have your recommended group interview questions. I will ask you this, that we have 12 questions that we need to ask every candidate. And just right now, let's go ahead and, before we recess, look at how do you want to pursue with this. I say that there's 3 questions apiece. So commissioners, have you had an opportunity to pick the 3 questions, or how would you like to go forward?
Well, is it, do we have to work off the sheet, or can we bring our own questions?
If we bring our own, they need to be asked to every candidate. The same questions have to be asked to each candidate. So,
Okay, understood.
okay. So why don't we go ahead then, and we'll recess until 1:30, and then we'll gather back and go from there, okay? This meeting's recessed till 1:30.
So we don't know who's who.
Tony, are you ready? Okay. We're going to reconvene our meeting for Friday, August 11th, 1 o'clock. It is now 1:30. We took a recess due to some problems with times that were posted. I do want to thank Sally Sherman from Flagler County for being here today. We appreciate you very much. You and your boss, Mr. Craig Coffey, were leaders in this process, and we thank you for all the time you spent in being here today. Commissioners, we're going to go through the questions. There are 2 questions that we pretty much have already asked in the morning, so I'm going to ask if we can remove item number 4 and 8. And Commissioner Pickens, you wanted to do question 1, 3, and 9. So Ms. Allen, if you'll bring our first applicant in. And commissioners, we're going to give them a county pin. So if you will, Mr. Lible, Mr. Goddard, and Mr. Pickens, if you'll do the first one, Mr. Goddard do the second one, and Mr. Lible do the third candidate, please. We're going to give them one of our new county pins. The order is going to be where you'll ask your questions all at one time. So Commissioner Pickens will do 1, 3, and 9. Commissioner Goddard will do 5 and 10. Commissioner Lible, 2, 7, and 11. And I'll do 6 and 12 at the end. Come up, please. We need to have music or something when they're coming. It's kind of a scary place when you don't have that, right? Or don't be. Yeah, go right ahead. Mr. thank you for coming. Commissioner Pickens has something for you.
On behalf of the county commission, Chairman Larry Harder, thank you for traveling all the way to Pennsylvania to be with us. Like, to present you with a county. Well, thank you.
Good deal. Good. They're great colors, too. Well, good, thank you. We're going to give you a few moments, just if you like, just 3 minutes or so, just give us a little background for the listening audience and the viewing audience. Introduce yourself, and we're going to ask you some questions, okay?
Okay, great. Is everything good here, the way it's set up?
You might want to bring that
Bring
microphone
that mic a little
closer to you.
Closer like that?
Brandon, is that good? Yeah, that's
Does that
good.
work out well? Okay, great. I appreciate the opportunity, and I thank the board for giving me this opportunity to be invited to present to you my credentials, my interest, and my capability of being your next administrator. I come from Pennsylvania, and I've been the county manager in Pennsylvania for 7 years. I have an active career in government spanning well over 20, 25, 30 years of governmental service and serving the constituencies in which I've worked in and lived in and have enjoyed. I look forward to this opportunity in every sense of the way because it does allow me to utilize some of the skills and some of the capabilities that I have. Hopefully, with your direction and your guidance and your mission and vision, I can lead and provide the leadership that you're looking for in your administrative staff to carry on your goals and your direction to make Putnam County attain the level of success that you seek, you desire, and you believe your residents and your constituency deserve. In every sense of the way, I do offer some interesting dynamics in the process. I have served as an elected official, so I do have a understanding of your chair and your relationship with your constituency. And I respect that, and I do understand that from a very immense position. Therefore, it is very important that I convey to you, from my level of understanding as an administrator, the things that you need to know and make sure you're aware in the service of your constituency. I have an interesting background. In addition to administration, I've served in various levels of the state. I've had relationships with many state officials, government officials, from the governor's office to the Congress, to the U.S. Senate and the like. And so I have the ability to build relationships and the ability to work with people from all dynamics, from the governmental circles. And in addition to that, I've served the constituency, having been on the city council, been serving in offices of the sort of serving and providing service to the constituency and the residents as they need it. In addition to that, I offer and I provide a pretty strong understanding of the financial sector and understanding of budgetary processes, balancing budgets, putting budgets together, operating and creating fund balance, dealing with rating agencies, improving the credit rating of a county government and improving it to such a way that it lends itself for the benefit of your citizens and of this administration. So I do look forward, hopefully my attributes, my skills, and my experience will be of benefit to you, and I look forward to further questioning. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to ask you 10 questions, and each commissioner is going to have, Commissioner Pickens is going to start the questions, and we'll go down the line, and I will end the questions. And we do appreciate you coming from a long way away, and we do welcome you to Putnam County. Commissioner Pickens.
Okay, Albert, the first question, what interests you in Putnam County, and why do you want to be our county administrator?
Well, I think Putnam County has a lot of similarities to where I've been over my career. I've been in rural counties in both Cambria and as well as in Adams County. In those situations, I think I have an understanding and the blend of issues, whether they're north and south type of issues within a county, whether it's over the river on one side or on the other side of the river, or in the relevance of the preservation of a certain type of lifestyle that you're looking for. I have that level of appreciation that I can bring here with that level of understanding. In the county that I manage and work with, we're always balancing the historical needs of the community and its way of life. We're looking at the agricultural center and the production of fruit and grains and the need to preserve those as an industry and as a value of keeping the integrity of the county. So all those are important, I think, here in Putnam as well. And so hopefully I bring those levels of experience, those levels of understanding to the table, and then work with you to accomplish your goals and your missions and your objectives in every sense of the way, making Putnam County the county that you want it to be, and hopefully I can motivate the staff and work with your staff to accomplish that. I do look forward to being your administrator.
Okay. Thank you. Second question, what do you see as the role of county government in keeping the cost of government down while providing essential services to our residents?
Well, government needs to provide the service, and we've made a commitment to provide the type of service. We should always be evaluating from an administrative team how we provide that service. Are we providing it efficiently? Are we doing it in the most cost-effective manner? And in each of those situations, you need to recognize that you need to provide the service timely, it needs to be fairly distributed, and it needs to be to meet the needs of your constituency and what was been promised and what has been defined as the level of service that you're providing your constituency.
Third question, how will you adjust to operating an organization with limited resources, an example, money, personnel, and equipment?
Most cases, most governments operate under those premises all the time. There's rarely enough money, there's rarely enough resources, and you're always challenged with personnel. In organizations, and I'm sure as you are here in my organization, you're challenged with the idea of ensuring that you have the money in the budget. You operate on a budget and you build your budget and you live within your budget. You deal with your people and you try to motivate your people and you try to identify what your people need to perform the services for your residents. And then you're also trying to deal with all the realms of equipment, and you need to maintain equipment. You need to keep them operational. And all those things take money, take time, and take effort. And I think from a collective effort of pulling together staff, utilizing all their experiences, utilizing all their capabilities and understanding of what they have and the tools they have and the resources they have, hopefully you can take a look, I can take a look at that in every perspective to ensure that the right amount of dollars are in the right location and are being spent prudently and properly. And from that level of accountability, I'll be able to convey that to you so that you understand the budgetary concerns and the needs faced by the entire administrative staff.
Thank you, Commissioner Pickens. Commissioner Goddard?
Yes. What do you consider to be the most challenging thing about being a manager?
The most challenging, I guess, in every sense of the way, is to ensure that you're providing optimum level of service and the types of service that's being desired and required in the delivery. It's to ensure that the information that you present to the decision makers is always all the information at hand so that you make good, sound decisions. So you're always charged to make sure that you've identified all the potential solutions that might be available to solve a problem. I like to collectively and collaboratively work with my staff and my team of knowledgeable people to ensure that we've thought about all the avenues in which the problem could be approached and addressed, and then make a recommendation to you, the board, as to some of these solutions and some of these challenges that may be forthcoming and present themselves to you.
Okay, thank you. And what is the most challenging part of budgeting to you?
Finding the money is always one of those sides of the thing. There's always more places to spend than there are places in which to retrieve the funds and have the money available. It's always looking at the budgetary process on an ongoing basis, every day of work, every month of the year. It's not a single time frame in which you address a budget. The budget is a dynamic, it's a tool and it's a science. Then once we develop it and adopt it, we have to find the ways to live within those means, operate in those means, and therefore we should be evaluating, working with it to ensure that we may remain on target, on budget, and or under budget is another manner in which I like to work.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lible.
Yes, tell us about your qualifications, particularly what initiatives that you put in place in your prior position with those qualifications.
From the aspect of the current position that I serve in, I've done a couple of projects, and a lot of the strengths work on my ability to understand finances and the understanding to work with and understand projects and how to fund projects and how to grow projects. I have steered and guided a board into a new 911 system, new radio operating system that replaced an analog system. I've guided the board into producing a new facility, a 91,000 square foot renovated facility, and provided that funding and that mechanism in place of how to put it together, how to finance it, utilizing current expenditures for rents and the like, and as well as consolidating, enhancing those situations. And then the other factor is presenting the best picture together for the financial review to improve credit rating and improve the recognition that I put the county on a good, sound financial position and being treated, recognized by the rating agencies that oversee and review that.
Very good. In your experience, what is the key to developing a good team, and how do you build a mutual trust, respect, cooperation, and you might tell us about any prior experiences, in staff development you believe would help us.
I like to communicate with staff on a daily basis, and then on a periodic basis with the team. So I engage and I work with and I listen and have an interaction and a relationship with all the directors and eventually employees within those departments. In every sense of the way, I've put together in the position of where I'm at right now is we teach people how to become leaders. We teach people that we believe in them. We instill in them that they have the capacity. I do not micromanage. I like to lead, I like to mentor, and I like to coach. And my HR office and our management team goes at strengthening the employee. We've had great success in promotion from within, as well as we've hired from the outside to bring some people into the organization. Each of those ways the idea is to build the employee, give them the confidence, because the team, I can't get it all done. There's no way that I can accomplish what the team, the staff can accomplish, and just motivate them and understand that I care, and as well as when I care, I know you care as well, because we want the service, and if we're providing good service and the staff and the team is doing that, you're appreciative and so will I be. And I appreciate that opportunity.
Okay, one more. What do you see as the threats and opportunities facing our county? And tell us in that answer about your experience with economic development with the use of particularly private-public partnerships.
The threats, I guess, at this stage of the game in the county is the lack of development and the lack of growth that has a detrimental effect on improving your tax base. That's one element. The other element that you have, and it could be a threat or can be a positive, is is the propensity or the growth rate that may eventually come into the county. Those need to be challenged with and dealt with. You deal with, is there a plan, and can we develop a plan, and can we develop a mission, can we develop a goal to achieve a particular direction that the board wants to achieve in the area, whether it's up 207, whether it's up 17, down 17, whatever, out 20. Either which way, developing the objective of what the board wants to accomplish and how do you accomplish that. In my situation, I've developed that from the ideal of developing priority preservation maps, respecting the quality of life that we want and the right development in the right locations. I've encouraged collaboration between economic development corporations, the Tourism Council, planning commissions, and all those kind of things, and to ensure that people are talking and trying to get on the same page, trying to identify and try to have identified common goals and common objectives to reach the particular goal at hand. Each of those situations lend itself for a better working relationship, a better cooperation relationship, because you have a lot of interesting partners now. You've got good, strong businesses. You've got people that are involved and interested in growing certain elements of the county or that. You've got resources, and you've got things available that might be a tool in which to grow or make some things happen here to meet your goals and objectives.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lible. I have two questions, and then we're going to wrap that up. What do you consider your management style to be most like? A coach or commander or dictator, or how do you see yourself as your management style?
My management style is as I'm a collaborative leader, I like to bring people together. I'm not shy on levels of understanding, but I am not the only source of information in an organization. You have staff here. They have their field of expertise, and each one of them need to be engaged and work with to make a determination. I can deal with the unpopular issues. I can deal with the easy issues. The tougher ones are always difficult. I believe in instilling them the members and the directors and the staff to grow, to learn to be a valuable tool in the administration. I look at administration, it's just not me, it's the entire team, it's the entire administrative staff. Dictatorial ways do not accomplish much, so you know it's never an approach that I work with. It's an engaging one, it's leadership, and it's collaborative.
Good deal. Thank you. And the last question today, sir. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us that we haven't covered which would make you the best candidate for this job?
Well, I think my board recognizes me as a loyal individual. They recognize me as knowledgeable in government and understanding relationships that's important in governing. They also would say that I offer and bring to the table a pretty large vision, and I can see the big picture. I like to look at the big picture. I like to look down the road 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and more. So I bring those attributes to you. I like to see things happen, and I like to be able to be a part of a team that wants to make things happen. And work with you would be an encouraging situation where we can form that partnership to make Putnam County the county that you have decided and are determining that the direction that you want it to go in, that we can go in. And I look forward to that opportunity.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And we do thank you for coming down to Putnam County and your interest in us. And that's the end of our questions. So thank you very much,
Well,
sir.
thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate the
All right.
opportunity.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you.
Too, sir.
Too. Larry, this is the part where you sing, isn't it? You wanted music?
You don't want me to sing?
Let's hear you sing.
No. I make a joyful noise.
Commissioner Lible, I've heard you sing. You're pretty good.
The
I want
karaoke?
to hear Larry.
Is it karaoke?
No. No, he can play guitar pretty good, too.
Really?
You should have brought it.
It is Friday. It is Friday, everybody. Mayor Hill, welcome. Good. Thank you for coming to our meeting today.
Play the guitar, Larry sings.
There we go. That'll work.
We don't have any really weird music, Mr. Suggs, to play, so
Only 'cause Larry wouldn't sing.
we should have played like some dun, 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 dun.
No.
That's it. You're welcome. You're welcome. Ms. Suggs, you are the next contestant and candidate. Thank you. I was being funny.
That's for beauty queens.
Yeah, we're going to ask you 10 questions, and each one of us have some questions to ask. We're going to start with Commissioner Pickens, and then we'll go to Commissioner Goddard, Commissioner Lible, and myself.
Yes, sir.
So, and we're going to ask the same questions to all candidates. So, Commissioner Pickens, you have the floor, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I gave the prior one. Give us a little history of yourself and introduce yourself for the public to see who you are.
Okay. My name is Terry Suggs. I am the current city manager for the city of Palaca. Married to the wonderful Miss Julie Masters, and we have one son. I've been here now for 2 years. We've purchased our home here, and then we made Putnam County our home, and we absolutely love it here. 25 years of public service. Come from a very rural family, a farming family. I'm the youngest of 6 siblings. So we know what hard work is, and we know what rural communities desire and what they need. So we're looking forward to the process here today, and hopefully we can answer your questions as best we can.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Pickens, you have the floor, sir.
What interests you in Putnam County, and why do you want to be our county administrator?
Well, again, 2 years ago when the opportunity came up to move to Palaca and be the city manager here, my wife and I prayed about it very deeply, and we let that lead us and guide us, and we found our way here to Palaca. What I've found since we've been here in Palaca is a very diverse community who is very grounded and who absolutely loves the Putnam County. So we have absolutely fell in love with what we're doing here and why we're here. I think the opportunity that presents itself here today is to try to take some of the things that we've already done here and accomplished here and move it over here to the county, because we seem to be finding some of the same issues. I'd love the opportunity to be able to see if what we're doing can actually work here, make things better for our community here. I think our citizens within Putnam County are looking forward to, shall I say, a better quality of life. I think we've got some things that we can certainly improve on here, not so much improve, but enhance, I think is the right word. We got many great things in this community. We've got the environmental with the river. We've got the events that we have here just draw people from all over the country. We need to work with that, and we also need to attract more folks here. We need to be able to attract some industry here to broaden our tax base and lessen that burden on all of our taxpayers.
Okay, what do you see as the role of county government in keeping the cost of government down while providing essential services to the residents?
Well, again, I think we need to look at our internal staffing and see where we can create some efficiencies. I think we need to, at all costs, remind ourselves of who it is that are paying the bills, and that's our citizens. So we need to look at any way we can to derive some diversified revenue streams. We need to be able to quit being reliant upon the ad valorem assessments. We need to quit being relied upon some of the state funded, because we know those mandates are coming down. That's making it more and more difficult for us to be able to balance our budgets. So we need to look at a way to be self-sufficient, sustaining, and find ways to, again, broaden our tax base and develop some diversified revenue.
Okay. How will you adjust to operating an organization with limited resources, an example, money, personnel, and equipment?
I'm sorry, sir. Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, how will you adjust to operating an organization with limited resources, an example, money, personnel, and equipment?
Well, the first thing we need to do is, as I said before, my management style is one where I won't sit behind the desk. It's where I get out and work within my departments and see what the needs are, see what the staffing levels are, see if we need to adjust, see if we need to put folks in different positions to be more efficient. I think we need to look at grants like we have over at the City of Palatka, $10 million in the last 2 years. Part of that was to offset services as well as to purchase equipment. And I think that's some of the things that we could do here, which will lessen that tax burden.
Thank you, Commissioner Pickens. Okay, Commissioner Goddard?
What do you consider to be the most challenging thing about being a manager?
I believe the most challenging thing is to come to work every day with the right perspective, okay? Every day when you show up to work in this role, you just never know what the first phone call is going to be or what the first visit is going to be. So you need to be prepared, and you got to lead with a clear conscience and a good heart. And I think that being able to come in and be able to answer the questions of those that are in need, provide the services of those that need, is where you need to be. And coming into an organization like this, you just, you want to be able to answer the questions and do the best job you can and support the elected officials and those community leaders in our community.
Okay, thank you. And here we are. What is the most challenging part of budgeting for you?
Again, knowing that we have essential services that we need to provide and trying to balance that against those what we might call niceties is always a challenge. We need to look at the budget overall and make some very difficult decisions. One thing we have to do is we got to figure out a way to limit our diminishing reserves. That's going to be very critical. Quite frankly, as I said earlier today, if Hurricane Matthew would have hit us, we'd have been in big trouble. So I think making sure that we find a way to increase revenue, cut expenditures, balance the budget, be able to keep our reserves in order, and then, we just have to sometimes just make those tough decisions on what services we can and can't provide, and remember the core essential services that's mandatory.
Okay, thanks.
Commissioner Lible?
Mr. Suggs, I want to ask you to tell us about your qualifications, but I want it to evolve around what initiatives have you put in place in your prior position using those qualifications?
Okay. Well, 25 years of local government. I've got a background in planning and zoning, got a background in public works, background in solid waste, background in city management. Some of the things that we've done in the past to eliminate some of the concerns on our budget, I put in when I was with Alachua County, we put in a program that allowed other municipalities to use our facilities that I was responsible for. We charged like what we call a permit fee. So we were able to take an initial budget that was $256,000 in the red when I inherited it in midterm to 5 years later, we had a budget reserve of $1 million, and we were able to cut our fee services by about 36% because some of the programs that we had put in place in that position. So we were able to do that. And since I've been here with the City of Palatka, everybody knows, and I'm not advocating, please do not take this the wrong way, but we put a revenue diversified stream in, which was the fire assessment fee. Okay. Our fire assessment fee was designed to be revenue neutral, so we lowered our millage rate at the same time that we put a fire assessment fee in. But what that did for us, it allowed us to utilize 60% of that fire assessment fee to offset the cost of the fire department, lower our millage rate. It gave us an opportunity to put money back into our reserves, which when I arrived here were around 8%. Today I think they're over 16%, which I'm very proud of. It also gave us an opportunity to show the bond rating companies that we created an additional revenue stream. and our bond rating went from an A- to an A+. So hopefully, this third year moving forward, we'll be able to adjust those rates, I'm hoping, down on both the millage as well as the fire assessment fee if all goes well.
Okay, and the last question I have, in your experience, what is the key to developing a good team? And look for how you build mutual trust, respect, and cooperation. Wait a minute, that's what you just did. I gotta go to the next one. 11. What do you see as threats and opportunities facing our county? And tell us about your experience with economic development and public-private relationships.
Well, the threat would be, I think, is again our diminishing revenue streams. So we need to look at an economic development if we want to broaden our tax base. I really think we need to implement a program that is conducive to drawing folks into Putnam County. What I would like to do, and we discussed this earlier, is to put together what I would like to call an economic development team. And that would be a group of individuals that work for the county that actually go out and verify properties and identify properties that we can attract business to. We need to go ahead and address the zoning on those issues, on those pieces of property. We need to have a team in place that goes out and recruits folks to come to our community, businesses to come to our communities, entrepreneurs to come to our community. But we need to have a team in place that works with them from A to Z, from conception to completion, all the way through the process, through zoning, through compliance, through permitting, and we need to make it a more user-friendly process.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lible. Okay, Mr. Suggs, I have a couple of questions. What do you consider your management style to be most like? Commander, coach, dictator? How would you describe yourself?
Well, you know, if you read the books, there's a lot of terms out there, but I don't go by any one of those terms. I've been in public sector for 25 years. I think I like to have adapted a management style to the staffing levels that I have, and I think what has really been beneficial is, you know, I manage by action. I get out there, I work with my folks just like they do. If there's an issue at Public Works, I'm out at Public Works. If there's an issue with a storm coming through, I'm out riding on the fire trucks, okay? So I manage by action. And the biggest thing that we get out of that is folks want to raise their game. They want to, their level of expectation steps up. And I'm very proud of that. It's not one of micromanaging. I believe in management by walking around, getting to know the staff, knowing their strengths and weaknesses, and giving them the tools and the equipment and the ability to do their job and do it well, provide the service that our citizens and everyone in our community deserves.
Thank you. All right, last question. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us that we have not asked you? This is your opportunity.
This is my opportunity, okay.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest thing that I would like to share, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, so to speak here, but you know, being part of this community is very important. You folks have seen me out at the community events. We're very active in this community. My wife and I absolutely love being here and living here. But you know, part of that is being familiar with the concerns and the issues that we're already facing here in Putnam County. I believe if given the opportunity to step up to the role of county administrator, I believe that familiarity with not only the elected officials, but with the staff and the community gives me an opportunity to step in and hit the ground running, so to speak. There shouldn't be much of a learning curve. I should be able to step right in and start implementing policies and procedures that can start taking care of some of the issues that we're currently facing.
Thank you, Mr. Suggs. We
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, and we thank you very much for this process, and I kind of hope you enjoyed it. I know it's trying, but
I'm just standing here with a straight face that absolutely, Mr. Chairman, it's been a great process. No, but seriously, no, it really has been a very good process. I think you folks did a great job. I think the candidates that you brought in will be beneficial to the community. It won't matter which one of us you choose. I think you've done a great job. I think Mr. Coffey and his folks have done a great job. I think the meet and greet was very helpful last night for folks of our community. And I think the process through the day went really well.
good. Well, thank you very much for your
Thank
time
you.
today, sir. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Sheriff. Thank you for joining us today. Sheriff DeLoach is in the room.
In case any of those candidates get out of control, we are ready.
Dressed down Friday, he's got his jeans on.
Yeah.
I know.
You got the cup, the tie. I did. Shirt. Man, he's ready.
All I need is the W.
Yeah. I think we're gonna get those this year.
Yeah, I agree.
What happened with the game last night? The Jags in New England.
Jags won.
They did win?
Yeah, they won. Yeah.
No Brady.
Ah.
Yeah. Kind of lopsided, but that's okay.
No Brady.
Hey, it is what it is.
Could be.
So, we can say Jags 1-1.
He's not injured or anything?
No,
Just left
they-
him out in
Yeah.
case, saving the ammunition.
I guess that's what they were doing. I didn't watch it.
You're not going to ruin that kind of money on a preseason game.
Telling you. Who was in charge of the footballs?
I'm not gonna say he's in charge of inflating the footballs.
Oh, stop. No one's proved that. He's innocent until proven guilty, right?
Okay.
Deflategate.
Tom Brady.
Brady? Oh, no, he's guilty.
See? Just throw him under the bus.
He's guilty.
And you know that firsthand.
I do.
Okay. Don't forget, you're going to give him the pen when he comes.
Ready to go?
He's not Aaron Rodgers, so.
It's not this scary in here, so please, okay.
Before we get started, on behalf of Putnam County, we have these pins. We appreciate
Well, thank you.
you coming and.
I was looking at them this morning and really liked them, so. There you go, I got one.
All
Now
right.
you have one.
Thank you.
Good. Mr. Groff, thank you for coming today, and we appreciate the opportunity, and we hope you've enjoyed the process as best you can, and we really welcome you to Putnam County, and we thank you for going through this process. We're going to ask you some questions. It'll be the format. There's 10 questions. Each commissioner will take some and ask you the same questions that we've asked the other candidates. But before we get started with that, we would like to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to the public and to the viewing public as well as the public that's here today.
Yeah,
You have the floor, sir.
thanks for allowing me in here to talk to y'all. I really appreciate it. It's been a great process. My name's Colin Groff. I'm a professional engineer and applied for this position. Live in the area, and we really love the area, and looking forward to completion of this process. It has been a little long, but it's been a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it, met a lot of really great people last night and some today, and a lot of the staff, which has been a lot of fun. I always enjoy meeting people, so it's that's the fun part of the job, is meeting new people and talking to them and listening to them and seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
So with that, I'll let you ask the questions.
All right, we're going to start with Commissioner Pickens to my left.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Groff, what interests you in Putnam County, and why do you want to be our administrator?
A couple things interest me. One is I really do like, my family and I really like the rural, small town atmosphere. That's where we live now in that, and I unfortunately work in a large city and don't enjoy it as much. And I'm really looking forward to coming into a small town area with a big feel that has lots of potential. And I think the second reason I'm really interested is there's a lot of potential in Putnam County to do really great things, so the citizens can enjoy improving their quality of life. They'll see a great improvement in their quality of life, and really an improvement in the whole county and the infrastructure and the services provided, and really do it better than anybody else. So I think there's an opportunity here to really do it better than anybody else is doing, and that's what excites me and makes me get up every morning, is I want to figure out a way to do it better.
Okay. What do you see as the role of county government in keeping the cost of government down while providing essential services to the residents?
Yeah, there's definitely essential services that only government can provide, and the government's responsible for providing those to keep the safety and welfare of all citizens intact. And those are really important, but you have to also remember it's not your money that you're spending other people's money. And so you have to pay attention to that every day What are you spending it on? How is it being spent? And what's the most efficient way to deliver those services? Even ones that one group may think are not important, another group are important. They're all important if they're services that government provides. So we have to find very efficient ways to provide those services within the revenue that's allowed. And that's the challenge, and that's the interest.
Okay. How will you adjust to operating an organization on limited resources? An example, money, personnel, and equipment.
Well, that's actually, common. It's not unheard of that there's limited resources people. That's government, and many, many local governments are in the same boat. I've managed governments like that, and in fact, I think you actually do a better job. If you have limited, you have to find better ways to do things. When you find better ways to do things, you actually improve services. Now, that doesn't mean you always stay limited. You're always looking to provide the resources necessary that the public wants. And that comes with communication, education, figuring out what is actually needed and then how to deliver that at the best cost possible. And, to me, that's a challenge, not an impediment. The challenge is finding a better way to do it. That's why I'm here, and that's what excites me about it. Let's find a better way to do it and a better way to deliver those services within the constraints that are offered by other agencies that tend to control those.
Thank you. Commissioner Goddard?
What do you consider to be the most challenging thing about being a manager?
There's a couple things that are challenging. One is to really develop that trust with everybody around you, that you trust them to do their job so you can do yours. That's interesting and challenging, but it's a challenge for many people because a lot of us, we want to do things ourselves. We don't want to let it, and you have to let other people do their jobs. You can't get in their way. You have to stay out of the way and let them do their jobs. So I think that's a challenge. And the other challenge is just time. There's a lot of things going on. You have to multitask. You have to do a lot of things at once and keep the ball in the air. But what I found is you have great people, you let them do their jobs, and those things kind of balance themselves out. So you have time to do what's important as a leader, really, is it's out there coaching. It's out there, here, what do you need? What do you need help with? How can I help you? What can I get you? And then going out to the public and saying, here's what we're doing. What do you need? What do you need better? What do you don't need? What can we not stop doing? What do we need to start doing? And spend time doing that, because that's probably the most important job, is just to really listen and then come up with action plans to carry forward with staff.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Lible?
No, I still have.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Appreciate that.
go ahead. It's been a long day, I
It's
understand.
been a long week, actually.
Yes, it has.
Yeah. What is the most challenging part of budgeting for you?
Probably the most challenging part is when there's programs that people need and there's just not enough revenue to do it right. It's just, it's telling people no. You don't ever want to tell somebody no. Unfortunately, just like in business, just like everywhere else, there's things you can't afford to do and you have to say, no, we just can't do that right now. I hate saying no, so that's the most challenging part, is saying no, but it's necessary. There are some things we can't do as government, and we shouldn't be doing them. And we have to provide a budget. A budget needs to be balanced. It needs to be provided that works. But it also needs to be a budget that provides the services that everybody needs. So you can't shortchange the services that are needed just because of budget. So you got to get outside your box, think a little bit differently on things. You might have to make some changes. Maybe the service is offered a little bit differently. So that's probably the biggest challenge, though, is there are times where you have to make changes, and changes are hard. Change is tough. It's not the easy thing to do. We as human beings like our little nest that we get in and like to stay in that nest, but we have to be thrown out of that nest every once in a while and move on in life. So.
Thank you. I think that was it, right?
Yep.
Commissioner? Okay, Commissioner Lible?
Okay. Your qualifications, we want to hear about, but in that answer, what initiatives have you used those qualifications to put in place through your qualifications in your prior positions? How did you use them the best?
Boy, that could be a very long question, or I'll try to keep it
It
short.
is.
It could be a very long answer. I think, I have a technical background and a financial background, so I try to use those to provide programs that work. That's capital infrastructure programs, that's social programs, that's employee programs, internal administrative programs, because that's a lot of government. There's internal programs that need to be provided to make sure staff can have the tools that they need to do the job. And so I try to use those skills wisely to come up with options that then can be decided upon by a team approach to figure out which is the best one to use. And so, I think my technical skills help me, develop projects that work, that are cost effective, that meet the needs, and are maybe a little bit innovative. I've done a lot of innovative projects throughout my career that, I always like to say, I don't mind being the first one. It's a little bloody sometimes, but being the first at things is okay. It's not bad as long as you know what the risks are, you measure the risk, you mitigate the risks, and you move forward. So it's not bad about being the first. So I use my technical skills, and I think administration-wise and management-wise, it's just I like people, and I like seeing people succeed. And so it gives me a lot of pleasure when somebody does a good job, and I want to tell them they're doing a good job. I want to thank them, and I want to enjoy it with them. So, part of it is you have to enjoy your job. You have to enjoy life. You have to have fun, because otherwise you're not going to be good at what you do. Because there are some things we do in government that aren't fun. There's some things you got to do that it's just part of the job, and everybody has that in every job. It doesn't matter what job you're in. There's a part of it that's not going to be fun, but you got to look for that enjoyment. So I try to use the skills that I've gathered over about 30 years to develop that atmosphere for everybody, so everybody can enjoy getting up in the morning and say, I want to go to work. And that's not common, but that's something that can be created, that people want to get up and go to work, even though there may be some things they've got to do that day that aren't that great. So that doesn't really answer your question technically, but that's an overall view. I can give you specifics, but that'll go on all day. So
Do what you want to do. It's your question. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. In your experience, what is the key to developing a good team? How you build mutual trust, respect, cooperation, and tell us about any prior experiences doing this with staff development, that sort of thing. Do you have anything that you could bring here and help along those lines?
Yeah, I think, and especially in most companies, your people are probably your primary asset. That's what generally drives everything we do is ourselves. And you have to develop that. And people really most employees have three needs that they really need to be met to like their job. And I'm the same way. I have three things that I want to be happy in a job. And if I'm not receiving them, I don't like the job, and I'm probably going to look elsewhere or do something else. And that's really paying attention to making sure that people are appreciated for the work they do. I know I've talked to some of y'all about this, but making sure you're appreciated for the work you do. The government is hard work. Everything we do is a little bit hard. And we need to show that appreciation. We need to show that we understand the work you're doing is difficult. We understand what you're doing, and we appreciate it, and we thank you for it, and you did a great job. So that's the first thing you need. You need that appreciation. The second one is you need a way to improve yourself. Most people want to improve themselves every day. It could be as simple as I want to learn a new word, or I want to learn how to do a new task, or maybe I want to find a new book to read or something, but there's something you want to learn, and you need to provide that atmosphere so people can improve themselves in their job. So you need to provide, a methodology to do that. And one of the things I've done is set up what we call career paths in job descriptions. And what it is it allows people to, based on their own efforts, not on efforts by other people, not on time served, but their own efforts, bettering themselves to move up in their job, to get a little bit more responsibility, to get maybe a little bit more pay. And I know that's a scary thought, we're going to pay people more, but get a little bit more pay. But they better themselves because people want that. And that leads to the perception that you're being paid fairly for the job that you're doing. And so if you meet all those three, you've got people that really want to work on the team and work together. You've also got to earn respect, you've got to show respect. I mean, you can't dictate the thing. You've got to let people do what they do well. If somebody's not doing well in one place, find a place that they can do well. Everybody has talents. You just got to find the place to put those talents. I don't have the talent for everything. There's some things I can't do, and I shouldn't be doing those things because I don't have those talents. So you find places, and that's how you build a team, and you show that respect. And the other thing is you have to be willing to accept mistakes without punishment. I mean, mistakes happen every day. We all do them. Every time we get in a car, I guarantee you, every time we get in a car, we make a mistake at one point or another driving that car. Most of the time, nothing happens. Every once in a while, you have a little accident, But we have to learn how to get over those. I always tell people there's very few mistakes that you can make that you can't get past, that you can't figure out how to fix. So don't, because when people are scared of making mistakes, they don't do anything. Because if you're scared of wrecking your car, you're never going to get in your car, and you're never going to go anywhere, and you're never going to see the world. So you can't be scared, so you have to be willing to accept those. So I think that's another area that really needs work that we don't do a good job at a lot of times as managers, is accepting. We want to get on people or get mad. just accept it. Hey, it happened. Let's fix it and let's move on. And guess what? We learned something. We're not going to do that again.
Hopefully.
Hopefully do it. And then if you keep doing it again, then we may need to do a little bit better learning. And there's tools for that, to learn a little bit more than you're learning the easy way. So, but there are tools for that, and that's where you engage your HR department for those tools, and they usually have good tools to help people learn a little bit better if they're not learning the easy way. So,
Okay, one more. What do you see as threats and opportunities facing our county? And in that answer, put it in your own experience with economic development and use, looking for private, public partnerships in this answer.
okay, well, I'll start off with there's some dangers, and the danger really is not having a vision and not knowing, not having those key points that everybody agrees to that you need to move forward on. If you don't have that, you're really not going to move forward. So the danger is not doing anything. If you don't do anything, you're not going to get anything. That's just the way it works in life. I mean, I wish it didn't, but that's the way it works. If you don't work at it, you're not going to get it. So if you really have a vision that you want to achieve, you've got to work at it. So that's the danger, is not doing the work necessary to do it. Now, as far as economic development, you know, we're prime. This area is prime for economic development. You know, I've talked about this lots of times, and some of you already heard me say this, but you know, the advantage that Putnam County has is there's nothing in the way. And that's a good thing. You know, there's a lot of places that would like to develop, but they have a whole bunch of development in their way to develop what they need now. And how do you move that out of the way? Here, you've set up, believe it or not, you have set up for the future with business parks, with ports, with things like that. You have places for businesses to go that'll create those jobs and that economic driver that you need to move everybody else up. It's that rising tide rises everybody. So you have a lot of the infrastructure in place, believe it or not. I know people look around and say, oh, I don't see it, but it's there. It needs some work. It needs some vision. It may need a little bit of nudging here and there. It may need a little bit of help from the state, and go talk to them and say, hey, we need a little bit of nudge here, a little bit of help. But it's there, and to capitalize on it, you have to know it's there. You have to have the vision for it's there, and you have to be positive that you can reach it, and then reach out and sell that. In government, we do not do a very good job with that, communicating. We just don't. It's just something that has never really been bred into people who work for government. And I'm as guilty as anybody else of not communicating well. We need to do a really good job communicating in all forms, every way we can. That's going out and seeing people face to face. That's, you know, electronic formats, or whether people like it or dislike it, it is the way to communicate now. It's websites, it's Facebook, it's Twitter, it's Instagram, and all the other things that I don't even know about. But it's using those to get word out and get information out, because when a company's looking for a place to come, they're going to be looking for a place that's positive. They're going to be looking for a place that they can come in and they know they can do business and make money. If they see a vision that's not the same, if they don't see a unified face and a unified direction, they're probably going to go someplace else. And Putnam County has gotten some really big growth. I mean, the Georgia Pacific expansion is a great catch, and I've said that before. It really is a great catch. There's a lot of places that would love to have that, and you got it. And what caused you to get it? Well, there was a plant here, that was one, but obviously they saw something here in the way this environment functions that they liked, that they knew they could make money, and that's the key to business. If they're not going to make money, they're not going to come here. And so something was shown, we need to build on that, find what that is and build on that, and people will come and they will open their businesses and they will thrive here. So you get these families that come, and they have places for their kids to be raised here in great schools. You know, then they go out and they work in the business and they have kids, and it's just that perpetual growth, sustainable growth in a community, while you're keeping the character that everybody loves. And so you have to plan that. So I think that's the danger is not doing anything, and the opportunity is it's all there, ready to go. We just got to go sell it. And we have to go tell people that it's there. And who cares what people say negative about it? That'll go away. You know, negative goes away once you shine a light on it. You can't stay negative once that light's being shined. So you've got to communicate that. You've got to market it. You've got to, everybody has to be on board with the marketing, saying, this is a great place. Come and do business here. We want you here. We're not going to stop you. We're going to get out of your way. So probably went on too long there, but
No, it's a good answer.
that's my passion. So.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Love. Okay, now it's my turn. I got
Okay.
2 questions, and then
These are the tough ones, right?
No.
Okay.
These are just the luck of the draw. These are the ones I got. What do you consider your management style to be most like? Commander, coach, dictator? You explain yourself.
Yeah, and it's probably more of a coach. you know, good leaders lead by example and by service. You cannot, you know, I learned a long time ago, my very first job, I mean, I was out of college probably 6 months, and I was managing 3 or 4 people in a group. And I learned really quickly I could not do my job without them. They were key to me being successful. So I learned real quickly, I better give them what they need and help them because otherwise I'm not successful. So I like to coach, and as you get more experience, you can provide more coaching. You know, when you're first coming out, you know, when I was my first kid, I was like 23, and I was coaching Little League. I wasn't a great coach the first couple seasons coaching Little League, but after 14 years, I got pretty good at coaching Little League teams. And it's practice, and that's what you do. So as you get higher up in an organization, you do more coaching, and that's really important. And coaching is not just, you know, here's how you do it and here's how you do this. It's also providing the guidance and saying, here's where we're going to go. Everybody needs it. You know, I think every single employee should know, how's the budget put together? What is their impact on the budget? What kind of measurements to help them be successful? So they can go out and what projects are, what's the vision of the county? What's some things the county wants to do? And they should have these key things so they're ambassadors. And they'll be excited about that. I'm always excited to be an ambassador for something and talk to the public about something that's really fun, really exciting happening. So, and I think that's the answer to that is I like to be a team player. I know I can't do it on my own, and we all have our own skills, and we get together and we use our skills jointly, and we do great things. You try to do it yourself, you try to be a dictator, you're only going to get what you can do, which means you never move forward. And you know, I figured that out knowing, because you know, maybe I'm not all that smart, so I need smart people around me. So if you got smart people around you, you'll look a lot better.
That's right. Well, thank you. Last question, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us that we haven't covered during this process?
It's been a very long process. No, I mean, I think just in summary, I've been working government, local governments for about a little over 30 years, and I've enjoyed it. I do this because I enjoy doing this. You know, I have other skills I could use. I just don't want to because I don't enjoy it. This is what I enjoy doing because I really enjoy seeing things grow and good growth. You know, I enjoy seeing people succeed and being successful and enjoying life. And I love it when a community has a great quality of life that's continued getting better. That instead of having to come out and complain about stuff, they're coming out and saying, hey, you guys did a great job on this. And that, to me, is fun. That's what I get up in the morning to go do. And I've always been lucky to be in positions where I've been able to do that, and that's great. I've always worked with really, really good elected officials, which is good too. That's something that you look forward to. I think that's something I would like to hear is just work together as a team that we do really good things. Even when we disagree, at the end of the day, we say, you know, we disagreed on this, but you know what? We did the right thing. Even if we disagreed, we did the right thing. And that's really what it's all about. So I think I can bring you some skills that could be needed at this time to bring you some strategic planning, bring you some things you can set into a vision. You already know what you need to do. You already know maybe we need to a little bit more formalize, and I think I can help you do that. So with that, I'll leave it to any other questions y'all may have.
Well, thank you so much, and we do appreciate you coming down, and we hope you enjoyed your time here in Putnam County.
I absolutely did. It's a great county.
We know you're just a few miles up the road.
I am.
Yeah, but we do thank you, and we hope this process was good to you.
It was.
So that's it. That's the
All
end of
right.
our questions, so we thank you
Well,
today.
thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this concludes our questions for all of our candidates. There will be no public comments today. We've already done all that we need to do. On Tuesday at 1 o'clock, this coming Tuesday, what's the date of that? I don't have my calendar in front of me. The 15th?
15th?
Okay, at 1 o'clock, the board will meet with a special meeting to go over the candidates and to possibly hire one, and we'll go from there. So if there's no other business to come before us today, any comments, questions, commissioners?
It's been a long week.
Yeah,
Just
a long
like I
week.
said.
Yeah, it's
Let's
been-
go on.
I think I'd like to make a comment, though, as far as our panel that narrowed down to the 3 that you just heard. Thank you very much. Very impressed. It's been entertaining. It's been great. Thanks.
They did a good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't have to clap for them again, but I really want to thank the panel. The committee, I really think we had a strong committee with great background and commitment to our county. And I'd like to thank Ann Allen and all the HR department for all the work that they did, and just everybody that was involved in the process, and the three candidates. I think we've got three good choices, candidates to choose from, and we'll try to take care of that on Tuesday.
All right, and in parting, I want to say to Sally, thank you for being here from Flagler County. And
Yes,
please
Yeah.
bring our best wishes back to Mr. Coffey for all the work that he's done, and Florida Association of County Managers who helped us through this process. Again, the committee, thank you so much for being here. Your leadership in this community shows, and your leadership in this decision shows very, very well. Also want to give a big shout out to Yvonne. I know she's not in the room right now, and the staff that helped her in Palaca Sunrise Rotary, who put on that wonderful food event last night down at the River Center. It was just, it really makes us look good, and that's what we want to be about. You know, yeah, we see the negative comments, but this is time for us to do the right thing, and we've seen the greatness of that. So that's the end of my comments. So if there's nothing else that we need to discuss, Mr. Attorney, any comments?
No, we're good.
Then this meeting will stand adjourned. Thank you.